In Romans, the Apostle Paul talks about how important it is that we are never a stumbling block to another person's spiritual growth. And when he talks about this, he's especially considering what it means when we hold on to anger and then we let it turn into resentment. When we do, we can become a stumbling block to ourselves and to another person too. As we consider this, it's important to understand that God isn't a stumbling block to our spiritual growth either. God intends us to be free from the yoke of slavery, as our text says. That means free from literal enslavement, of course, but it also means free from our captivity to the things that would try to obstruct us from God's love. In churchy language, we call that sin. In more common parlance, though, that captivity is the things that are destructive or obstructive in our path to God's freedom. Those things are not meant for you. The music of our youth is so formative, of course. You hear stories about people in memory care facilities at the point in their Alzheimer's or dementia treatments when they or their loved ones feel that they must be more supervised. And even when they forget their name or everyone else's, there are certain things that they never forget. Neurologically, this tracks in other forms of neurodivergence, even where children, for example, who are nonverbal, who cannot put together a sentence, sometimes they can actually sing a song. Those pathways are different in our brain. So if you're in charge of a child's development, keep paying close attention to the songs that they hear. They will not forget them. When I think of songs about freedom, I have a few that come to mind instinctively. Redemption Song by Bob Marley. I used to listen to this on the bus during my hour-and-a-half commute to my summer job at the Bethesda Chevy Chase YMCA from my neighborhood way over in Northeast D.C. to go all the way out to Old Georgetown Road. If you're from D.C. or know D.C. at all, this is a trek. So I would take the subway the metro and the bus. Anyway, I can still picture myself on the back row of the bus, which was my favorite spot back then, singing this song very quietly. And I don't know why I was drawn to it. But when I tried to think of a song about freedom that I'm confident I would know forever, this is the main one. Do you know it? If you don't, I might even if you do, I'll just remind you a little bit of it. Old pirates, yes, they rob I. Some died to the merchant ship. Minutes after days to die. From the bottomless pit, but my head was made strong by the strength of the Almighty. We follow in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing this song of freedom? 'Cause all I've ever had, redemption song. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear of atomic energy, 'cause none of us can stop at the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Ooh, some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing this song of freedom? 'Cause all I've ever had, redemption song, song of freedom. Like I said, I don't know exactly why I was drawn to this song back in my teenage years when I was just lifeguarding and teaching swimming to little kids. But what I do know is that I was facing a lot, as teenagers do. And there was plenty that I felt captive to, chained to negative thoughts and enormous expectations and hormones, chained to the quietism, quiet racism of my elite private school classmates, chained to the fears of uncertainty of my future, chained to the ways I absolutely knew that I would have to be exceptional in order to make it in life. In other words, something in me, something implanted deep within me, knew that I needed a redemption song, a song of freedom. I disassociated from my difficulties way too much back then to have been able to articulate the need. But I do know that I had that song on lock. I needed it to live somewhere in my head so that I would never forget it. Old pirates, yes, they rob. Some died to the merchant ships. The thing about what they call epigenetic trauma, the scientifically proven trauma that's written into our DNA, is that, yes, we inherit the wisdom of our ancestors, but we also inherit the warning signs from their traumas too. And there was something that they gave me that spoke to something that I was experiencing that I couldn't articulate. The pirates didn't kidnap me to merchant ships, but something in that song rang true to the deep ancestral connection that does live in me, which meant that I needed and still need a redemption song. And so do you. Because you are meant to be, created to be, only to be redeemed from all that has gone wrong and free from the power of all that wrong. That is what you were meant to be. Know your redemption song. Know and see Jesus in it. Know redemption to be your deepest truth above everything else. That truth shall set you free. In your reflection and discussion today, I invite you to think about your own places of captivity. Where do you experience change? How do you need to be set free? What songs linger endlessly for you? Know your own redemption song, and that truth shall set you free. Amen.